it's
Hey,
Natalie.
hey y'all, it's Madeline.
And I'm Autumn, and this is TWT.
Hey y'all, this is Madeline, and welcome back to another episode of TWT. This week we'll be talking about something very near and dear to my heart, the social work program here at TWU. So if y'all didn't know, I'm actually a social work major, and I'm in my second to last semester of social work. So I thought it'd be interesting to kind of share a little bit about my major for any of y'all trying to apply to the social work program right now, or you're looking at TWU for the social work program. And me and my special guest, Giselle, can go all into that since Giselle is actually my cohort. We've been in the trenches together these past couple of semesters. So, who better to talk about the social work program than Giselle? You want to introduce yourself?
So, hi everyone. My name is Giselle. I am also in my second to last semester. So, next semester we'll be doing our practicum, which is essentially like our internship. So, definitely excited and nervous.
Yeah, for sure. Crazy. So, just going into our first question, how did you hear about the TWU social work program?
For me, I think once I was in my senior year in high school, I started searching. Like, I feel like I wasn't those type of persons that were like, oh, I want to do this major in a specific. I was looking into psychology or um, social work, and I ended up researching like different schools, and I wanted to stay here around Texas. So I was like, okay, let me look at each program, and I just ended up really liking like the environment, how small the campus was, and I did a tour, and I was like, this is definitely where I want to go. And I ended up choosing TWU.
Yeah, that's funny because that's kind of what happened to me too. Like I remember, well, I didn't do a tour because I was a COVID baby, so I had to do everything myself. So
Mm,
my parents just like literally like came to campus and walked, and I like always said I was like I'm not going to TWU. Like I don't know why I had something at TWU, but I was like I'm not coming here. And then I walked on campus and I was like this is the best feeling ever. Like I need to come here. And luckily we had such a great social work program, and I also had a professor who did TWU social work who really liked it as well. So it's just like an extra bonus, but I definitely got like that feeling that you had as well as
yeah.
like just like it's such a great campus. We do say campus with a heart. I feel like we say that all the time on this podcast, but it is true. So, what made you want to be a social worker?
For me, I think, as I mentioned before, it was kind of like I was in between those two majors, but at the end of it, I was really looking at what different tasks, different roles that social workers did. And I really like the main thing that I am really passionate about is helping others, especially like within my community. I know there's a lot of people who are currently struggling with different issues, and I feel like there's a lot of change that needs to be done. But I had a lot of like my counselor, she also spoke to me, and she had family members who were social workers. So I was able to speak to different people who were already like in the social work field, and it ended up being like the major I went into. I was like, I think this is something that I would like, even if I have like my doubts later on, but I'm still here, so I think I made the right choice up to now.
We better have made the right choice. We're about to graduate.
Mhm.
Imagine like
I'm
we
like,
came, you're
there's
like,
no turning back. We're at the end of the road.
no, me after having like my practicum interview, imagine I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna actually change my major. But
You're
no,
like,
I do not planning on changing it. Like my practicum
that's too
person's
much.
like, oh,
Too much work already, too much um what's it called? Too much stress we already went
yeah,
into.
no, yeah. So, what made you choose the TW social work program specifically? Like, was there anything about the program that was like, I have to like come here?
Well, I definitely like how it is a very is it it's a general social work
Hmm.
degree. So basically, I know in our interest meetings or like the meeting we had to go before we went into the program, they explained different details like um, what are things that we are expected to do, and like the classes, how where they're gonna be arranged and everything. And I just think like I feel like there's a lot of faculty in the program that were definitely there to kind of be like, we're gonna support you. And I feel like everything is well organized. Like after this semester, you're gonna take this and this, or you have like um your advisors will your cohort, you're going to be split into different advisors, so you have more time to kind of connect with the professors. And also that this is a smaller campus, so we're able to definitely make different connections and become closer with one another. So I think I just really like the whole thing of the, yeah, I feel like it's a good program and a good major. If you definitely look into it, you'll find like different things that you might like.
Yeah, and I really like how tiny, like, our cohort sizes are, and I feel like that's the same
Mm-hmm.
for every cohort,
Mm-hmm.
within the social work program, not just ours. But because I know for, like, the bigger majors, like nursing, anything science, is, like, really big, and it's, like, cohorts, and you can't get one on time with the professor. But for us, like, well, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, at this point, like, we all know each other extremely well. We all get along. Yeah, I would say we all get along, and it's just such, like, a nice, like, being able to see almost, like, the same people every day, and we all get along, and and I think it's just a really good group of people, and it makes class more enjoyable. I feel like that it's just everyone isn't like, we all get along, so it's just, like, that extra level of, like, I don't hate coming to class because, like, everyone in this cohort is, like, really nice, and, like, I actually can have, like, time with the professor.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like now we're obviously like in our last semesters, but you definitely become like from strangers to like you get to know like you'll definitely have those talks where you get to know someone like personal life and someone's just story, and it's nice seeing how you can relate to one another. It doesn't make it awkward, especially since we do a lot of like fun activities like role
Yeah.
playing and just I feel like there's a lot of things that happen in class where I feel like maybe it wouldn't happen with other majors or in other schools because of the huge classroom size.
Yeah, like, we always talk about that, like, amongst us in our cohort, like, some of us are like, like, we never really knew each other first semester, but now it's like that we, like, know each other, it's, like, much more fun, and just, like, the smaller cohort makes it just so much more enjoyable. So, moving on to the next question. So, I was wondering if we could go into what our schedule is like, so just, like, classes and things like that?
I think, as I mentioned before, usually you would know once you meet with your advisor, they tell you like how many, usually it's like it average out to like, depending on how many, it's different for each semester, but usually it's like they have a specific classes that you'll be taking once you're in the program. Before that, you have to finish some of your pre-requirements, but the schedule is usually, I think it's pretty flexible, especially in the beginning. Sometimes you only have like classes all in 2 days per week, so this definitely makes it easier for commuters.
Mhm.
But it is you will be probably full time. It depends on how you enroll, full time or part time. But usually it's like what, more than 12 credits, right? We usually do like
Yeah, I think this is with the practicum.
14. Yeah, right now we've been
Yeah,
doing like 14, s- depending 16, somewhere there. But I feel like
yeah.
it's manageable if you really um take your time to do the things that have to be done when it has to be done. Because I know for me, it's like it can get really packed if I procrastinate a lot. But I think they do a good job with putting things in your schedule that are going to be good to you. So that's just, I think that's how it works.
Yeah, and if y'all didn't know this, if you are looking to start the program, they will pick your classes out for you. So how it works is like I didn't know this when I was applying because I didn't know it was a applying program, but they'll when you're ready to start like the program, I think like the semester before you apply for the program, they'll send you like your first like your codes, and those are all like introduction classes, and then you apply for the program, and then you do like the upper level classes. But usually like they plan our schedules for us. Like we don't take anything. It's kind of just like, which makes it easier because like they just
Hmm.
literally like, send us the codes and just like, oh, sign up. So that's like a pretty nice aspect.
Yeah, I think with how, yeah, they usually plan our stuff, and compared to other majors, you don't really feel like you're in the Hunger Games trying to get a class,
Oh,
getting a
for
time.
real.
The only thing is probably like we have a lot of morning classes, so
Mhm.
usually it's like 8 a.m., 9:30. So usually they try to do morning classes. So the good thing is that you have like mostly a lot of free time like after one, or you can do, a lot of people do like part-time jobs, or a lot of people commute so they go back home. But yeah, I feel like that's the nice part where you don't have to stress like, am I going to be able to get this class? You'll
Yeah.
get it. There's going to be space.
Yeah. Also, the cohorts are so tiny that you will for sure you will for
Mm-hmm.
sure get your class.
Yeah.
It's funny because they sent us the course codes like I think 3 or 4 days ago, and I still haven't even signed up. Like I genuinely, I'm like,
Yeah, there's
I'll do it
people
later.
that, leave it until later on. And even then, I
Me,
feel like they do a good job to kind of like put it in there. Just if you talk to your
yeah,
advisor, or um yeah, usually they work with you.
yeah. So I was wondering for anyone maybe applying for the pro or like worried about the program itself. So when do you actually apply for the program?
So as I mentioned, whenever I came in, I had a lot of pre-requirement classes like English, math, reading, and some, yeah, because I had done early college programs, so I ended up having credits transfer into the school. But I know usually you take all your pre-requirements and you have an advisor. So usually if you declare social work as your major of interest, you will have a social worker, or a social worker, faculty who is your advisor during that freshman year, helping you like get the classes you need. And usually, for me, I had to take like, I know women, gender studies is like a
Oh yeah.
requirement to take at TWU, and I had to take like psychology, sociology, um, a lot of speech class, and it's just different classes that you will need before you go into the program. But once you complete all your pre-requirements, and your advisor, your freshman advisor, tells you like, he's gonna send you an email like, okay, you're gonna be ready to go into the program. There's gonna be someone contacting you with the meeting, which is the meeting that you have to go into the building, the Omni building, which is where our
Oh, I
social work
forgot about
is.
the orientation.
Uh-huh.
I forgot about. Oh
It's like
yeah,
an orientation, and you
I
get a
forgot
full
about that.
explanation. So you'll definitely know whenever you're ready, and you'll get the emails. You just have to pay attention to your emails, and your advisor will be in contact with you, because you have to meet with your advisor like, I think, per semester, at least one time per
Yeah,
semester. So it's good to stay in contact with them to just know what's going on. But usually after your orientation, you'll what is it, like, apply, so send like
yeah.
your application, and then you have like your pinning ceremony, and then
Mhm.
you'll be ready to go into the first semester. We have like 4 semesters in the program before you get to graduate.
Yeah. So it's like orientation, just make sure everyone orientation, you get like the codes and orientation, and then class, and then I think it's like, and then you apply because you have to take some classes before the actual like program or whatever. Like you officially, like we can officially be like, we're actually social workers. And
Mhm.
then it's the pinning ceremony, and then the other 3 semesters. But we kind of talked about the application a little. Do you want to maybe talk about like what you remember, like the program application itself being like?
Yes, I remember whenever they told us that we will have to do an application. I feel like a lot of people worry. We were like, okay, what are we gonna have to talk about? Anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it was super, I feel like it wasn't difficult. It was simple. Like, you kind of just talk about yourself, you answer questions like, um what are you interested in being a social worker? What do you want to do in the future? You had to do like I don't remember if it was like a small paragraph of like a essay type of thing, or
Oh
I don't
yeah, we did.
know. It was something related to,
Yeah.
it's just basically of you. And they do have some like requirements, like
Hmm.
but you'll know them, and you'll have like a meet, like somebody will come and explain the application, that they will have a whole presentation about it, and it will have things like um I know there's some people who have questions about, like, I think they ask you things about like being in the, like in the system or things like that. Some of them are like more personal based, but I think it wasn't difficult because I was talking mostly about myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that was hard too because they're like, because you have to, for the getting the program itself, you have to actually fill out an application. It's like this Google Doc, and then you have to answer these questions, and it's like, what are three qualities that make you a good social worker? And I'm like, what are the three qualities? Like, who can, like, I remember asking my friends, I was like, guys, why do you guys think I'll be a good social worker? And they're like, babe, shouldn't you know this? I'm like, oh my goodness, I should. But like, it's a lot of soul searching for this application because I mean, everyone obviously is gonna kill it in the social work program, I know, but I think it's hard, like, talking about yourself, like, putting yourself in such, like, a good light, like, "This is what I do well," and this like, I remember this one part, like, "What can you improve on?" And I wrote, like, a page. I was like, "Da da da da," but, we all have special parts about ourselves that can make us a good social worker, so definitely remember that, guys. Start thinking about what you're good at, so then when you're doing an application, you're not stumped like we were.
Yeah, I think for the most part, the application is for the faculty to know you, get to know who you are, because it's their first time kind of like starting to get to know you.
Yeah.
And most of the time, everyone, like I think they told us like everyone gets in, like, you know, everyone would is gonna do good, and they're very encouraging. So
Yeah.
definitely just don't be afraid. Try and relax, and you all got this.
For sure. So now that we are almost done with the program, it seems crazy that like I was like talking about applying and now that like we're almost done with it. So what has been your favorite part about being in the program?
Favorite part. I think it's kind of like repetitive, but it's getting to really be able to connect with classmates, because I think yeah, I was like, okay, it was really quiet during that first semester. It was kind
Yeah,
of
it
like we
was.
were just all like observing each other, and it was kind of like, I think during that semester was more difficult because everyone was commuting, or we only
Yeah.
had 2 days that we were in the school. So usually we would just be like after class, it was time to go, like, so it was not a lot of socializing. Um, but I think that was my favorite part. And also whenever we did like our practice lab, I was able um to get into like volunteering within different, like I did the Dallas Children Advocacy Center here in Dallas, and I really liked it. So they give you a lot of opportunities to kind of like get your hands in different, like what are you gonna want to do in the future. So I
Yeah.
think that's my favorite part.
Yeah. For me, I feel like the classes are really good. I feel like, haven't had a bad professor. I think my favorite class has been stats because it was so funny. Shout out Dr. Lee. That class would make me laugh every what's the class? What Thursday? We're on Thursdays or Wednesday? Every
Yes,
Thursday.
Thursday. It was such a long class, but
It was like 1 to
mhm.
3:50, and I'd leave that class laughing. I don't think I ever left that class in a bad mood. I was terrible at stats, but something about it, I would lighten my day. doing doing my stats lecture. Yeah, I don't know. That class was just I was always in a good mood going to stats. I like stats? No, but did I
Yeah, I
have
think he
fun?
made it enjoyable. Like I feel like he will be laughing about like things that weren't as funny, but he was just like a really like lighthearted. I think
Yeah, it was really
he will
lighthearted.
make himself laugh, and we will just be laughing at the same time with him.
Like, I hated going to stats from 1 to 350, but it genuinely made me laugh. I was having a good time. But I think touching on something you said too about I forgot what you said. It was about like being prepared. I feel like that's something that the social work department does so well is like preparing us for the real world. I feel like talking to people in like other social work departments, they're like, "Oh, you guys are doing this? Like, we don't volunteer, we don't go out." Like, they genuinely make you go out and start like gaining those skills like extremely early on. And I think that it's daunting, but it's so beneficial. Like going into the practicum now, because like when they ask you for the practicum, like what skills do you have something you can say like, oh, I spent this first semester volunteering, I spent this first semester doing this. So I think that's something that they do like extremely well.
Hmm.
So speaking of it almost being sadly the end of our college journey, so what are your plans for after graduation?
So after graduation, it's still very like stressful and kind of like,
Yeah.
okay, what am I gonna do? Like, I hear people like, okay, master's program and stuff. I definitely want to go into my master's because my end goals is to become a clinical and medical social worker. And I know I definitely need my master's and getting my license in that. So I think for right now, my plans are to be able to get my experience by working and also going to school. And I know for master's programs, you can do a lot of like part time, and there's programs that are via online. So I'm interested in continuing my education, but also being able to start working with my BSW.
Seems pretty crazy that we're going to be going to grad school at the same time. It seems so crazy, just like thinking about like that semester we were starting and now we're like thinking about grad school. Like it's just so crazy.
It is.
Yeah. So sadly, and it's our last question. So is there any advice you'd like to give potential students in the program or who are applying to the program or just anywhere in their social work journey?
Um, I think if I had an advice that I would tell them is to definitely um I think there's going to be a lot of challenges you will probably face during your journey. Like um I think it's normal where you either get stressed, get tired. There's a lot of like what am I doing or doubt, especially like just being a college student, being a student and you have different responsibilities, and I feel like sometimes it can get too much, or within our own field, I feel like there's a lot of things that need to be talked about, and sometimes it's like hard topics or things that, within our state, I feel like there's a lot of things that are changing. And I feel like we all want to help, we all want to make a change, and just keep remembering why did you start the journey. And if you end up like being like, okay, this is too much, you're gonna have that support. So just um try to be open to connecting with others, especially professors. I feel like I don't really see the professors as like just professors. Like they have times where they tell you like, just make a meeting, and they have meetings for like, oh, grab coffee or go after class. You can stop them, and they're never gonna be like, oh, don't talk to me. No, they're gonna have time to talk to you. But I think it's just connecting with your classmates, and don't be afraid to like speak and do what you want to do. Just be yourself. That's what I would say.
Awesome. I was going to say that too. Like, once I feel like that first semester wasn't as fun because I genuinely didn't put myself out there. Like, I would show up. I think I had the mentality because they would always be like, you guys should be friends with each other. And I was like, I'm here to learn. Like, why? But once I genuinely like started like making connections with like my professors and my cohort, it became like so much more enjoyable to actually like come to class every day. And
Mm-hmm.
also, your professors remember you. So if you guys need
Mm-hmm.
recommendation letters, you're gonna see these
Definitely.
professors forever. So like
Yes. And sometimes
you
you
want to
have
put
them
yourself
for
out there.
multiple classes. Like
Yeah.
you have them so often. They're your advisors as well. So it's kind of like you see these people all the time. And I feel like definitely whenever it comes to like they're very like open to helping, whether it's like, oh, you need help with getting in contact with this person, building your resume, or
Yeah.
um yeah, if you're looking towards doing this and that, or like how she said, if you're in the future having to do recommendation letters, I feel like you definitely want to do a good job in that. But don't be, I feel like I was so into my mind that first semester where I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I need to look good, or try and just be
Yeah.
like serious, because there's a lot of like things that they're going to tell you within the orientation, like, oh, be careful of this and that. But try and just take it light and just give yourself like grace.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for Giselle for joining us this week. It was such a good conversation. I'm glad we were able to delve into all things social work. So, thank you so much for joining us, and we can't wait for y'all to hear us again. Until next time, pioneers.